What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 8 of Triple Threat Talk. I'm your host, Connor Ryan. Today we have a great episode. We're going to cover the weekend of basketball. We are then going to answer some of the Instagram questions that some of you have left for me. And then I'm going to cover the Tuesday NBA Cup games. That's what I meant. If you are new here, welcome to the channel. Super excited for you to be here. If you're a returning listener, thank you. I appreciate you. Please like and subscribe. Please follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Talkin' Triple. And yeah, let's just get right into it. So I'm going to cover a couple of games from Friday night's NBA Cup matchups, a couple on Saturday, and then 2 Sunday games. Again, today's Monday. This will be going out Tuesday, the 26th. So let's get right into it. First matchup, NBA Cup, Friday. Celtics versus the Wizards in Washington. Celtics pull out the W 108-96. Big win for them, not only just in terms of it was a gritty win. It was more importantly, it was just a win that helps them propel them into possibly winning their group in the NBA Cup. I think it's if the Cavs beat the Hawks and then it's the Celtics beat the Bulls, the Celtics get in automatically. But if the Hawks, I think it's like if the Hawks beat the Cavs, then the Celtics have to win. The Celtics would have to win big to try and get that wild card spot. So I guess I'm a Cavs fan for that one, but Celtics Wizards, Celtics won 108-96. The elephant of that game was the Celtics weren't really shooting that well. Jason Tatum was 0 of 10 from 3, which I think is like tied for like 4th most like attempts without a make from 3 in NBA history. He tied Antoine Walker's record in Celtics history for most threes without a make at 10. Jaylen Brown, though, stepped up. I know I said a couple episodes ago that Jaylen Brown was the key in regards to the Celtics kind of really acclimating themselves back to being the contender, the team in the East, or the team in the NBA, and he has found his rhythm. Actually, with that Minnesota game from yesterday, he really showed it in this game against Washington. 31 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists. And yeah, he's been great as of late, which is incredible to see. Still, the only concern for me is his 3-point shooting hasn't been as effective, but he showed out yesterday against Minnesota and started off the game like 5 of 5 from 3, and the Timberwolves broadcast was definitely not happy about it. JT didn't play great that game, but Drew Holiday did. 16 points, 5 assists, 4 steals. And then Sam Hauser off the bench, 13 points on 71.4% shooting from the field, 60% from 3. It is and obviously now that with this episode, Kristaps is back, which is huge news for the Celtics. They get to stretch the floor even more. This is going to allow Al Horford to get more rest, not really have to worry as much about his minutes. Definitely not have to play back-to-backs, which is great for him. But it also kind of just really does signify this bench is the one of, if not the best bench units in the NBA. When you can roll a lineup of Peyton Pritchard, a player who can easily score 20 points a game, Sam Hauser, a knockdown shooter, Al Horford, we know the pedigree that Al Horford is, a pro's pro, just one of the best and most veteran presences on any team possible. Luke Cornett is really stepping into his own and kind of getting his abilities acclimated and showing like, hey, I deserve to be on this team. Same with Neemias Queta. Jordan Walsh is really developing. The Celtics really don't have a weak spot. If they did, it would be, I guess, at times like hero ball focus. Like I feel at times that it will get a little kind of heat check mode where it's like, oh, we might be like up 15 and just like trying to make a 3 to really extend the lead, where if they slow it down, then they're able to really develop the game even more and everything like that. But it is demoralizing when for majority of the game, Like I think it's like the first like 6 minutes, and then the first 6 minutes of the first quarter, the last 6 minutes of the second, and then first 6 minutes of the third, last 6 minutes of the fourth. Those are the only times JB and JT play together, really, because a lot of the times it's like JT will play the entirety of the first, JB will play the entirety of the second, and then they link up in the first part of the first and the second half of the second quarter. But it really is demoralizing for teams to say, okay, we got them, we have them contained. Damn, they have their other superstar on the bench who's ready to come back in, fresh legs, and we aren't ready for fresh legs. So I think that really just speaks volumes to Joe Mazzulla's coaching ability and his understanding of this team is built to last an 82-game season. The only thing stopping them is injuries, so knock on wood on that. But the Wizards did not go down without a fight. Kyle Kuzma, 21 points, 3 boards, 1 assist. Jordan Poole, 23 points, 8 assists. Malcolm Brogdon, 18 points, 10 rebounds on 54% shooting. Jonas Valanciunas, 11 points, 10 rebounds, 62.5% shooting. And as easy it is to say, the clear thing with Washington is they are missing that true piece. They're missing that guy that they can go to and say, hey, we need a bucket. Like Jordan Poole is filling in that role and he's doing a great job this season. Will it last? I don't think so. And I love Jordan Poole. I think he's an incredibly talented player. He is one of the better shot creators and is able to kind of just find a shot out of thin air. So it's really impressive how much better he's kind of come along this season. Malcolm Brogdon is a player you never want to get on your bad side. And then I think they should move on from Kyle Kuzma. But my only concern is I don't know what you get for him. You know, like whenever you're on NBA Twitter, it's like you can see all these trade packages that people are like, oh, I think this is like a good mock trade. It's like, oh, like Dorian Finney-Smith and Cam Thomas for Bobby Portis and somebody else on the Bucks is a perfect trade. And you're just like, who said? And then like somebody would be like, who says no? And it's like, well, probably the Nets front office because they don't want Bobby Portis in return for their leading scorer and also a pretty solid 3-and-D guy. So, and you're obviously not going to get a draft pick from Milwaukee because they don't have any draft picks for the next like 5-6 years. So I think it will be interesting to see what they do with Kyle Kuzma. I know the Bulls just announced that they're, again, saying that Zach LaVine and Nikola Vucevic is on the trade block again. But it is very much, it's becoming the Heat are interested in whoever kind of gimmick where I won't believe it until I see it. But I will say, I feel like the Heat gimmick, though, is just like, a lot of it is like they're putting in the effort, but they're just not getting chosen kind of thing, where I feel like the Bulls and the Wizards, they are the ones to put in the effort. So I think they should move on from Kuzma. I don't really see a place in where he is a part of their rebuild really at all. And also, say hypothetically, the Wizards get Cooper Flag. I just don't think that Kuzma and Flag would work well together. They're very similar. Like Kuzma might be a better shooter, but Flag is a better defender and also like kind of better driver, better just overall just better motor as well. So I think they should move on from Kuzma rather soon and just see what is his market looking like. And I think that would be a pretty interesting way to start kind of like that not free agency, but trade deadline and like just overall trades. So we'll get to the Minnesota game between Boston and them in a little bit, but we are going to cover the Warriors defeating the Pelicans 112-108 in New Orleans. Very sneaky good game. The Pelicans kept it close. They really did. It was a close game. They almost came back and won this, but unfortunately, some missed shots here or there, and maybe a not great foul call or out of bounds call was just didn't go their way. But Warriors. The Warriors. I'll get to how I feel about the Warriors in a little bit. Andrew Wiggins, 30 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists on 64% shooting and 60% from 3. Steph Curry with a little bit of little bit of an off night from the field in total. 0.7 assists, 7 rebounds on 46% shooting, which isn't bad. But he made up for it with the threes, 57% from three. Draymond Green has been playing great this season, 11 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists on 50% shooting and 75% from three. My thing with the Warriors is like a lot of it was like, hey, like what is it? Like what is this team actually made for? Like, does this team have a shot? Does this team have a chance to really develop and become one of those contenders for March and April? And the message is yes. If you have Steph Curry on that team, they are going to be a threat. And losing Klay Thompson hurt, but you add Buddy Hield, you get Podziemski back, you get Jonathan Kuminga, who's playing at a high level. Andrew Wiggins is back to that 2022 playoff Andrew Wiggins. Draymond Green is playing in his role. Kevon Looney is playing in his role. It's a lot of veteran guys who we don't really know how much longer in terms of time there will be, but they are playing at a very, very effective rate. And it is really great to see. Like they're a deep team. Steve Kerr is playing like 11, 12 guys a night. And I know they just lost a DeAnthony Melton, but still like 10 guys plus a night, and being able to keep like your veteran guys like Curry, Draymond, I mean, even Andrew Wiggins, I think he's entering year 10, maybe. I think this is his 10th year. You got to keep guys fresh, and he's doing that. Lindy Waters is stepping up. Buddy Hield has been playing great. Podziemski, as I said, and Trace Jackson Davis has been playing great, and he obviously played great last season. But having that versatility with an aging team like the Warriors, where your superstar is not getting any younger, it's really interesting to see it work, and it is working, which is pretty cool to see. But I think more so than anything, this is a huge performance from the Pelicans. The Pelicans have been without Zion, and they're still without him indefinitely. I think CJ McCollum is getting a little bit better. DeJounte Murray should be back this week. Herb Jones is still out. They were without Trey Murphy to start the year. This was a team that a lot of people wrote off, and sure, you can still write them off because I think they have one of the worst records in the NBA currently. I think maybe the worst, third worst. Washington and Philadelphia are the only ones who have it worse, but they're in a great spot right now. They're going to get better, and I'm excited to see how they're going to move forward. Great performances from Brandon Ingram, 18 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists. Trey Murphy III with 24 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists on 53% shooting and 56% from deep. And Jeremiah Robinson Earl, somebody who I have been extremely high on since high school, 19 points, 12 rebounds, 64% from the field. It very much is about guys stepping up when you are without your best players. And this gives you that confidence of saying, hey, like we have these guys coming off of our bench that are able to put up productive numbers. Like Jeremiah Robinson Earl wasn't. If you have a fully healthy lineup, JRE is not putting up this stat line. If you have a fully healthy lineup, Trey Murphy isn't scoring 24 points. What this does is you give the confidence to your other players. DeJounte Murray has confidence. We've seen that before. Like CJ McCollum has confidence. Brandon Ingram has confidence. Zion Williamson has confidence. Herb Jones has confidence. What you need to do is you need to allow the other players to build it up and everything like that. But unfortunate for the Pelicans to lose at home. I think they are out of NBA Cup contention, but it is looking better than it seems, for sure. Kind of like how the Bucks were at the beginning of the season for different reasons though. But anyway, last game from the Friday slate, Mavs versus Nuggets. Mavs pull it out. This one 123-120 in Denver. Shout out my good friend Jack Gollinser for going to that game. PJ Washington as of late has really been a demon to those higher those upper echelon of teams in the West. He had a crazy game against OKC last week, follows it up with a 22-point, 13 rebound performance against the Nuggets. Najee Marshall was the player of the game with 26 points on 73% shooting from the field and 75% from deep. Kyrie Irving is having an incredible season so far. 19 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 37% shooting, so not great, but it is the commanding it's the attention that he brings. It very is similar to how, like, sure, Steph may only have 20, but he really does impact the game so much more than just shooting. You have to have a guy on Steph. You have to have a guy on Kyrie. There is nobody, I'd say, from the guard position other than maybe Steph in the last 10 years where you say any shot is a good shot for them. Like Steph from 3, any shot. Kyrie from like anywhere. You're like, I honestly wouldn't be shocked if it goes in. But, it's just great to see. But Klay Thompson didn't play great this game. 0 of 8 from the field, 0 points. But still, that's another guy you need to have your eye on, because there's a reason why he holds the NBA record for most threes in a single game with 14. It's not like sure, it will come and go from time to time, but it's not like Klay Thompson's off, we can just let him be. It's like, no, that's a 3, and then he could rattle down another, and then he could rattle down another, and it will be all in the span of like a minute. He moves so well off the ball, and I think he really is like a perfect fit for them because of the playmaking ability of Luka and Kyrie. So it's working out well. The Nuggets, man, Nikola Jokic is it. I mean, I've said it before. I'll say it again. He's the best player in the NBA. 33 points, 17 rebounds, 10 assists on 59% shooting, 100% from 3. I think it was only like 2 or 3 attempts, so not crazy, but he is the motor of that team. Congratulations to him, by the way, on the birth of his child. But he is ridiculously good. Watching him command that offense and help run it is so effective. It really does suck that he sometimes has to play with Jamal Murray and Russell Westbrook, who aren't really the best in terms of spacing shooters. I think that's why KCP was so good for them when he was on that team, and maybe why he isn't thriving as much with the Magic, but we'll get to the Magic in a little bit. Michael Porter Jr., 17 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 58% shooting, 67% from 3. But as I was talking about with Russ and Jamal, the two of them combined for 90 points and 9 of 29 from the field. That is near 33%. You can't have that from two guys, one of which who you just paid a massive amount of money to say, hey, we trust you. And we want you to know that you are our number 2. You're the number 2 guy on this team, and we are going to pay you like you are. His contract is not cheap. He just signed a 4-year 208. Derek White signed a 4-year 130, and he is putting up way better numbers than Jamal Murray right now. It is crazy the fact that you can have a player like Jamal Murray, who, no doubt in my mind, very talented basketball player. When he is hot, he is one of the best basketball players, honestly, in the world. When he plays well, there are very few people who I would trust more with the ball in their hand than Jamal Murray. But how does a guy make $200+ million when all he has done is be an all-rookie? He was on the all-rookie team in 2016, 2017. Yes, he's an NBA champion, no doubt about it, and was crucial for the Nuggets' success during that entire playoff run. But the NBA money is just getting crazy, and Jamal Murray is the perfect example. As much as I love this Nuggets team, the issue is it has become a financial aspect of saying, hey, we have Jokic, we have Murray, we have Gordon, we have MPJ. Those 4 guys contribute to 70%, 80% of your budget. What are you doing with the rest of it? They are very fortunate to have Julian Strawther, Peyton Watson, Christian Brown. Those three guys. You get Russ on a veteran minimum. DeAndre Jordan is on a minimum. I don't know what's going to, like, with the Nuggets, you need to figure it out. And I know I talk about them in a little bit and they do a lot better, but you can't have these kind of games, especially from your number 2 guy, this consistently. It is happening too much this season. He is shooting below 40%. He's from the field. He's shooting below 35% from 3. He isn't doing well. Like, he is supposed to be this. He very much is a playoff riser, but he is shooting too poorly to really say, like, yes, this guy has deserved this contract. Right now, he hasn't. And I think the entire league has seen that and is noticing it more and more. So I think once he is able to get his groove going, though, the Nuggets will be, again, a contender in the West. There's no question about it. So, all right, on to the Saturday slate of games. Really embarrassing one. Jazz 121, the New York Knicks 106. OG Anunoby played great. 27 points, 3 rebounds, 3 steals. Josh Hart, 17.6 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks. That is not those two have been great all season. They are a very talented duo. 2 of the more important defensive pieces, but also just 2 of, like, kind of that Derek White utility. But this is where this team really concerns me. Karl-Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges, and Jalen Brunson combined, the 3 of them combined, 46 points on 17 of 53. 17 makes 53 attempts from the field and 4 of 25 from 3. That's not good. You can't have 3 guys collectively who, one of which is considered the best shooting big man in the NBA by many and self-proclaimed best shooting big man. Another who you brought in as, like, this really effective 3-level scorer who is also a very good defender in Mikal Bridges, and then Jalen Brunson, who people say he's one of the better 3-point shooters in the league. You can't have those 3 guys who have this totem of, hey, we need you to make threes, not make threes, and in fact shoot below 20%. Sorry, 16% to be exact. I know Cat had 16 rebounds, sure, but the fact of the matter is, this isn't going to work if the shots aren't going down. And I know that sounds obvious, and it is, but it wasn't like they were contested shots. There were a good amount of shots that were wide open. They just weren't going in. And funny enough, for the Jazz, it was the complete opposite. Lauri Markkanen, 34 points, 9 rebounds, 73% from the field, and 63% from 3. John Collins, 20 points, 13 rebounds, 64% from the field, 67% from 3. Colin Sexton, 25 points, 5 assists, 64% from the field, 75% from 3. Nobody coming into the season is saying Lauri Markkanen, John Collins, and Colin Sexton are a better trio than Mikal, Cat, and JB, and Jalen Brunson. But this is what I mean when I say this is the NBA. You're not facing, this isn't an AAU team where you get all your boys, all your buddies, and say, boom, you're the best players in the world, or best players in the country, go do it. You're going to be playing against these guys who, on any given night, could kick your ass. Lauri Markkanen has been one of the better players, one of the better 4s in the NBA for the last couple of years, and he's showing it. John Collins has been extremely disrespected for the last couple of seasons in his career. And Colin Sexton was just, like, kind of thrown away in terms of, like, the rebuild in Cleveland. I mean, he was part of the package to get Donovan Mitchell. And so seeing these 3 have this success and truly beat down the Knicks, it's, like, both shocking, but also great to see for them. Like, that gives them the confidence. And if the Knicks really want to say they're a threat in the East, these are the games you got to win. And, like, you got to have your best players show out. I know I'm sounding like a broken record here, but That doesn't won't you think losing by 15 to the Jazz is bad? Go play the Knicks or go play the Cavs, the Celtics, the Magic when they're fully healthy. Hell, the Bucks even. The more and more I watch this Knicks team, the more and more I see their flaws, and the more and more I say, people said this team was going to win the East. I get it. The Bucks have their flaws, but they have Damian Lillard and Giannis. I get the Magic are without Paolo, but Franz Wagner is stepping up, and we'll get to him in a minute. But and then it's like the Cavs had been playing very consistent, very good basketball. They're beating up on the teams that they know they should beat up on. And then the Celtics are the Celtics. They're the reigning defending champions. Like, it's just embarrassing for the Knicks to lose a game like that. And there's nothing more I can say to where I'm like, yeah, like obviously it's like if you make some of the shots, the game swings in a completely different direction, but they didn't. And they got their asses handed to. So is what it is. Speaking of Franz Wagner, Magic win 111 to 100 against the Detroit Pistons in Orlando. Franz Wagner with 30 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals on 50% shooting, 44% from 3. And Mo Wagner, his brother, with 18.7 rebounds, 5 assists on 64% shooting. Franz Wagner is an all-star. He's going to be an all-star this season. And the Magic are going to be a threat for the next 5 years, at least. Similar to how the Celtics have JB and JT kind of as like their two, with JT kind of being that bigger, more imposing force, like very much can take over a game. That's Paolo. Then you have this silent killer who doesn't care who's in his way, and that's Franz. The DNA and the makeup of the Celtics and the Magic are very similar. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if the Magic truly make a run and maybe are a threat to win the East this season, or at least play the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. And that was my biggest concern after the Paolo injury. I was like, 4 to 6 weeks that's at least 15, 20 games or something. It's like, if you lose a majority of those games, then you have a problem on your hands, and it's not easy to dig out of that hole, or to get out of that hole. And Franz Wagner says, I got this. Don't worry. Paolo, you're good. Rest up. I will take care of everything. And he's done that. The Magic are one of the better defensive teams in the NBA. I think they're second in defensive rating behind the Thunder. And they're playing incredibly efficient on offense. Jalen Suggs really stepping up. Anthony Black, as of late, has really been playing well. Tristan da Silva, I think, was a incredible pickup for them through the draft. There's one more player on the Magic roster that I never know how to say. Goga Bitadze. He's been playing great. He has kind of filled in for if Mo Wagner kind of has he's more of their rebounder and kind of their off night. Jonathan Isaac is able to really provide minutes for them. KCP, Cole Anthony. This is a very balanced team that is looking to have fun. This is kind of like how we viewed the Thunder, I'd say like two years ago, before they really broke through. The good thing is Franz and Paolo are breaking through in front of our eyes, and they're going to make a push. They're going to make a push into the playoffs this season. They're going to be a threat, and there aren't many teams that I think that can stop them. So really great to see. Quick shout out for LaMelo and his 50 ball. LaMelo has been great this season. I think he might even be an all-star. Speaking of all-star, I don't know how I feel about the new format. We can kind of discuss that when we get a little bit closer to All-Star Weekend. But shout out LaMelo for his 50 ball, 17 of 37 from the field, which is a crazy number of it. Unfortunately, just coming up short against the Bucks. But no, he's been playing great this season. And unfortunately for them, they're losing Grant Williams for the entirety of the year. Trey Mann has been playing great, and so has Brandon Miller, but you got to figure out that DNA. I think if they are able to get a Dylan Harper, an Ace Bailey, a Cooper Flagg, that is really going to propel them. Like if you get two, I know there's only one basketball in those, especially if you go Ace Bailey, that's 4 scorers, and that's tough to really move the ball around that much with 4 guys like that. I think Ace Bailey has 1 assist through 3 college games so far this season. That's not great. Oh, maybe LaMelo kind of becomes like a Tyrese from last season where, hey, I will shoot the lights out, no problem, but I will get you the ball. So if that's what happens, that'd be really cool to see. But and Giannis had like another absurd game, like 31 points, 11 rebounds, I think 6 assists. So the Bucks are finding their way, and the Hornets are pretty close to kind of being in the mix. I don't know if they'll be in that upper level of playoff contention for the East, but it is good to see for sure. So a final game from Saturday. I know I just talked about the Nuggets, but Nuggets at the Lakers in LA. Ben, I'm sorry I'm bringing them up, but the Lakers shot the bed. Simple as that. And speaking of the Lakers, I forgot to bring up Franz having the absurd performance of 37 points, 6 rebounds, 11 assists, 4 steals, and then the game-winning step back over AD. Those are 2 crushing losses to have back-to-back. A step-back game winner from Franz Wagner over Anthony Davis, and then AD barely missing the shot at the end of the game, and then just to get blown out by the Nuggets after I think they went on I think the Lakers scored like 15 points in the third quarter, and they lost the quarter by like 20 or something. But here's the thing: if Nikola Jokic is playing the Lakers, you might as well just chalk up the Nuggets get a win. 34 points, 13 rebounds, 8 assists for the Joker on 60% shooting and 43% from the field. Michael Porter Jr., 24 and 11, 67% and 57% shooting splits. Christian Brown, 100% from the field from both 3 and from the field and from 3, 16 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. Just an off night for the Stars in LA. LeBron, 18 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals, 41% shooting, 25% from 3. AD, 14 and 10 on 32%. Austin Reeves had a really good game, 19 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists on 54% shooting and 43% from 3. It is tough when your 2 main guys aren't playing well, but that's when you need Austin Reeves, who did step up, Dalton Connect to step up. God forbid D'Angelo Russell makes a goddamn 3 and is able to step up. If he does, then I think the Lakers really have a shot. And I know JJ is doing a much better job with that roster than Darvin Ham ever did, but it's still the same roster from last year, and it isn't clicking right now. Getting that support, and I think I know I go back to the Celtics a lot, but it's because it's the team that I have the most experience with. When you have JT and Jalen kind of not having their best nights, Washington, for example, getting a 13-point performance from Sam Hauser lifts you. Getting a 16-point performance from Drew Holiday lifts you up. It's not like nobody... Like, there are expectations when you are the star player. There are expectations when you get this amount of money. There's expectations when you set a goal. Like, hey, we want to be a championship contender. We want to try and win another championship. And you have to meet those expectations if you want to be looked at and respected. But those are D'Angelo Russell. You have to start making shots. Max Christie cannot be outperforming you. Gabe Vincent has not been playing well. Like, it's as simple as that. And it is tough to see for the Lakers, but I know they'll be fine. It's just not great right now, or at least for the last 2 games. So Sunday slate, we only have 2 games for this one. I know there were more, but these are the 2 notable ones. And of course, one of them, Boston Celtics, defeated the Minnesota Timberwolves 107-105. The Celtics had at one point, I think, a 19-point lead in the third quarter, squandered that a little bit. Again, my only concern with them is kind of this hero ball focus of saying, hey, let's do all this. Like, let's try and get like another run going. When in reality, you just need to say, okay, let's get to the lane. Let's take our foul shots. Let's slow down instead of trying to ramp things up over and over again. So, but Minnesota had some very good performances. Julius Randle, 23 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. Rudy Gobert with a 10 and 20 performance, 10 points, 20 rebounds. Anthony Edwards led the way for them with 28 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists. And Rob Dillingham, 14 points off the bench. Best performance for him so far this season. He was looking confident on his jump shots. That was great to see. But the Celtics are the Celtics. There was just too much for them. The defense really improved this game compared to previous games, especially in clutch time. Jason Tatum, 26 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. Jaylen Brown, 29 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists. Derek White being Derek White, 19 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. And then you add Kristaps Porzingis. I mean, it's just, I understand I'm going to be biased, but like, how do you stop that? How do you give it your all, and on a bad second half shooting from Tatum, on some just poor execution from the Celtics, how do you stop then adding a 7-2, 7-3 stretch 5? You can't. It's going to be tough for teams to understand. I know it's like the Celtics are showing signs of weakness, but if you look at the numbers, net rating is basically the same as last year. This is the best start so far for a Tatum and Brown season ever. They haven't started 14-3 at any point in their career, so that's great to see. And they're only just going to get better. They're only going to allow their big men to rest, which I'd say is my only concern. But Xavier Tillman came in and played great minutes. Jordan Walsh came in and played solid. Like, the bench is a huge benefactor for the Celtics, and it's really great to see. So really interesting that Naz Reid got the final shot on that. I think it should have went to Ant, but you don't always got to go for the 3. I think they should have took the 2 with Ant driving against JB, but it is what it is. The game is over, so it doesn't really matter. Final game for the recap. Let me get some water here real quick. Let everybody else get some water real quick. There we go. I feel like a new man. Mavs lose to the Heat in OT, 118-123. I feel like as a team, collectively, I think the Mavericks play a little bit better when they don't have Luka. And I know that's kind of a shocking take and a hot take, but it is kind of the same way the Hawks play better without Trae Young. They aren't so much relying on the ball magnet aspect. Like, Kyrie is very effective with Luka for sure, because Luka draws so much attention. Kyrie kind of gets like the weaker matchup and is able to kind of pull up, space up on the wing and everything like that. 27 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists for Kai. PJ Washington, another great performance, 21 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. With the Mavs, I think it wasn't even so much a Mavs issue. It was just that the Heat played really well. Klay Thompson played well. Quentin Grimes didn't play great. Daniel Gafford did all right. Derek Lively, 14 points, 13 rebounds. So shout out to him. But when you're playing a team like the Heat and Jimmy Butler's giving you an easy 30 ball, that is a concern. Jimmy Butler, 33 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists on 65% shooting. Bam Adebayo, 19-11. Tyler Hero, 18, 10, and 5. This team is finding their groove. They have a clear top 3, and it is those 3 guys I just named. Duncan Robinson hitting shots, that's a problem for most teams. Jaime Jaquez has regressed back a little bit, but no doubt about it, he'll be back into finding his stride again. But when you have a game where Alec Burks comes off the bench and puts up 15, that's losing basketball. That's a game that you're probably going to lose. And it's as simple as that. It was the same thing with the Celtics losing to Miami in 2023 Eastern Conference Finals, because Caleb Martin and Gabe Vincent decided, hey, we're the best players in the world. There's nothing you can do to stop us. If Alec Burks is scoring 15 points off your bench, then that's a good sign for the team that has him, but not a good sign for the team that is playing him. That's the recap. We're going to get into some Instagram questions right now, and then we'll go over the 5 NBA Cup games for the next night, or for Tuesday night, so the night that this episode comes out. First Instagram question from my good friend Parker: where does Shaq fit in all-time centers in your opinion? I'm going to answer it in kind of 2 parts. When I think in terms of who do I think is the best center of all time in terms of size, in terms of achievements, in terms of just like hey, I need a center, then I would say there are two clear. It's okay. Sorry. If I needed, he kind of asked like in top five, like where would I have Shaq? And I would have him three if I needed a center. In terms of the GOAT centers, I have him four. But I honestly, it's like interchangeable with three and four. Some of the honorable mentions on this list, Patrick Ewing just didn't have the total success, didn't really have a lot of like the team success, made it to the finals once, but didn't win one. And I think that just kind of holds him back in terms of the GOAT conversation. Another one, Nikola Jokic. I'm sure if he wins another MVP this season and another championship, he might even overtake in like a Wilt or something into the top five. Moses Malone, an MVP, couple rings with the Sixers, just one of the best scoring big men in NBA history. And David Robinson. I mean, when you have a guy who is 7'1" and moves that well, he is made for modern NBA basketball. Unfortunately, played in the 90s, but he did win 3 rings. So can't really fault David Robinson on that. And also just another one of the best scoring centers of all time. But my 5, in terms of top 5 centers of all time, 5 I have Wilt. And probably the best scoring center, like if when you talk physically, like 7'1" range, but just the longest arms possible, could jump out of the gym incredibly quick. Like he's definitely is up there for sure. My thing is it's just didn't really have the talent or didn't have the accomplishments to kind of back it up. Incredibly talented player, but just these next 4 guys have the championships and kind of the more modern style to kind of go against him, in my opinion. So when I think in terms of, I'm going to kind of go off of GOAT conversation. So number 4, I have Shaq. 4 rings, an MVP, just the most dominant NBA player at his time. And honestly, if you put him in today's NBA, then I think he would still be just as dominant. Only concern would be his perimeter defense and his shooting, obviously. But, you know, it's Shaq. You don't really have to worry about him kind of missing a step. Incredibly quick, incredibly smooth, but just one of the best players in NBA history and one of the best centers. So the third spot, I'd say Shaq, and then my 3 spot are very interchangeable. And with the 3 spot, I have Bill Russell. You can't deny the fact 11 rings is pretty damn impressive. I get like they only have like however many teams, whatever. 11 rings is 11 rings. And the fact that his final ring was even while he was coaching as a player coach is ridiculous. The greatest defender in NBA history, one of the greatest rebounders in NBA history, very much was focused on the defensive side of the ball and could rebound better than anybody, especially being 6'9". Just watching what Bill did, and also in terms of his impact on the NBA, it was special. It is special. It is special to see. He is the guy when you think of championships. There's the reason why the Finals MVP trophy is the Bill Russell trophy, because there's nobody else who went to the finals as a player as much as him and won as many as him. He is the epitome of winning at the highest of levels, and it's for good reason. So Bill and Shaq are very interchangeable, in my opinion. It's just, what do I want? Do I need more scoring? I'd go Shaq. Do I need a defensive anchor? I'm going to go Bill. But the 1 and 2, I think are, for me at least, are pretty clear. 2 is Hakeem, the second best defender in NBA history, in my opinion. Only behind Bill. Just incredible length, incredible footwork, incredible speed, quickness, lateral movement. How people talk about Carmelo and the phone booth analogy where it's like, oh, you could have him in a phone booth and he would be open and he would get open. That's how Kareem was with the post. Or Hakeem, sorry. That's how Hakeem was in the post. He was the epitome of footwork. He was the epitome of getting by you with ease. 2 championships, multiple defensive players of the year. I think he has the block record for a damn good reason. And Hakeem Olajuwon is just will forever be one of my favorite players. Just the Dream Shake is one of the coolest names for a move of all time. And he would be number 1 if it wasn't for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I could say whatever about Kareem. All-time leading scorer before LeBron James, especially before the modern era of three-pointers and everything. All the MVPs, the true definition of winning at all levels. All the titles with John Wooden at UCLA, winning with the Bucks early on with Oscar Robertson, coming to LA and winning the championships that he did with Magic. Kareem is the greatest center of all time. I have him 3rd all time in terms of GOAT rankings because incredible rebounder, incredible defender, incredible scorer. The skyhook was unstoppable and just 7-1 and move with such ease. If some of the injuries didn't really impact him towards the later end of his career, then I think he might even be up there in terms of that GOAT conversation. But 3 in terms of total GOAT, number 1 center for me. So yeah, great question, Parker. So just to reiterate, Wilt, Shaq, Bill, Hakeem, Kareem are my top 5 centers from 5 to 1. So great question, Parker. Weston, what 3 teams are the biggest threats to the Celtics? The Cavs for sure. And we saw that in the game last week. Such balance from them. I know Darius Garland didn't have a great game, but they are one of the better teams in the NBA, and there's no doubt about it. And they're just Donovan Mitchell can will that team easily score 30. Evan Mobley and Jared Allen are the best big man duo since they have the potential to be like David Robinson, Tim Duncan-esque in terms of impact and support. They have a very good bench, very good support team. Georges Niang, Ty Jerome, Isaac Okoro. Those are some players that you definitely don't want to deal with in terms of playing them. So definitely a tough team for the Celtics, and I'm excited to see their matchup on December 1st in Cleveland. And then I'd say probably 2 out of the West. The Thunder, for sure, just because of how stout their defense is and how talented they are, and overall just their ability to score. I think without Chet, that hurts them a little bit, but they're still going to be a problem for the C's. And then probably the Warriors, just because of their depth, and also just their defense is incredibly underrated and incredibly strong. So I'd say those are the 3 teams that I would say. Ben Britton, can the 76ers bring their season back from the dead? Unfortunately, I don't think so. What do they do? I don't know. I don't think there really is a situation where, especially with Joel and his contract, with Paul George's contract, I don't know if you move on from them. I don't know if you try and work it out. They do have 2 bright spots in Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain, and Jared McCain is very much making a push for Rookie of the Year, and it's great to see, but it's just it's tough to watch, and then hearing everything that's coming out of the 76ers camp is also tough to see, the players only meeting getting leaked, and then kind of the whole reporter stuff at the beginning of the season. But I think it's just an ego thing right now. It's Paul George needs to stop doing his podcast during the season, and especially being I think the Clippers are a B+ team. It's whatever. It's just move on, play the game, be healthy, play the game. Sucks that he got hurt again, but And then with Joel, it's like you gotta get rid of the ego. You gotta move on. You gotta be able to kind of just put things behind you. But I think unfortunately there's nothing really that they can do to bring it back. Which I know as a Celtics fan sounds like I'm stoked about it, but it's like it's not fun anymore. Like it's got to be a boring Christmas game against the Sixers. So it is what it is. Final question from my boy Benjamin Chin. Thoughts on Scotty Barnes? Huge Scotty Barnes fan. I think his defensive versatility is incredibly important. His just low post presence is very effective. He's very quick for his size, very smooth. My only concern with him is his 3-point shooting. I feel like at times it's very shaky, but nothing to really be like, oh, like that's bad. But shout out Scotty Barnes, just one of the better players in the NBA. Very unfortunate that he got hurt earlier in the season, but I know he's back, so that's great to see. And hopefully the Raptors start rolling, so that'd be pretty cool. Thank you again for all the IG questions. We got 5 games to cover for the NBA Cup for tonight's action, tonight being Tuesday. I will give you my pick, my thoughts on them, and all that jazz. So, first game, Bulls versus Washington. With the Bulls, I think it's interesting. I wouldn't be shocked if if Zach LaVine. I think the Bulls win this one just because of the firepower that Zach LaVine, Nikola Vucevic, and Kobe White can provide. With the Wizards, it's like you're going to need a hero game from Poole. Bilal Coulibaly is going to have to step it up compared to the performance he had against the Celtics on Friday. And just like Kyle Kuzma needs to step up. Malcolm Brogdon, I know will play well, but I got the Bulls in this one. I don't have spreads for this one, but I would take the Bulls in this one. Bucks versus Miami. This is a tough one because I think if there is anybody in the NBA who has a chance to stop Giannis, I think it's Bam. Bam, I think, is one of the most versatile defenders. I think he's incredibly important to that Miami team, and I know we know that, but being able to have somebody of Bam's size, but also his quickness, speed, and footwork to contain a guy like Giannis, who is sure a little bit bigger than him, but similar speed, similar strength, I think maybe Bam is going to kind of control Giannis a little bit more better than most teams have this season. Now, am I saying that he's going to stop Giannis? No. I think Giannis is still probably going to get like 30 points, but it will be a little bit more difficult for him to do so. This game comes down to Damian Lillard. Is the Dame Dollar of Portland going to show up, or is the Damian Lillard of late going to show up? If it's of late, then I got the Heat. If it's the Damian Lillard of old, then I think the Heat. Then I think the Bucks have a chance. So, but I would take the Heat in this one. So, Houston versus Minnesota. I'm a huge advocate for the Houston Rockets this season. I think their defense has been incredible. Alperen Sengun has been great. Tari Eason has been great. Jabari Smith has been picking it up. Jalen Green, albeit not the best shooter at times, has been doing very well. Fred VanVleet just got fined $50,000 because of how much he hates the refs. I love that. I got the Houston Rockets. That's not saying Minnesota is a bad team. They've clearly lost a step, in not only in terms of chemistry, but also offensive production. With losing Cat, it hurts their spacing a lot. Rudy Gobert is throwing hissy fits when he doesn't get the ball. Like, it's just, I feel like the offense is very much just coming from Randall and Ant. And once the other guys step up, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jaden McDaniels, Mike Conley, who I know was out against the Celtics yesterday, but it is important for these guys to kind of step it up and get involved. But I got the Rockets in this one. Spurs versus Jazz. This would be a good young big man matchup with Walker Kessler versus Victor Wembanyama. I do think the Spurs are going to pull this one out, though. Just realize, actually no, except for the Miami game. The Spurs with Chris Paul has been playing great. Harrison Barnes is doing well. Keldon Johnson, who I know is out against the Warriors. I think he was out during the Warriors game. He's been playing great. It is going to be interesting, though, to see, are we going to get the Jazz from last game against the Knicks, or are we going to get more of a typical Jazz performance? If we get a more typical Jazz performance, then I think it's the Spurs game to lose. But if not, then I think it will be the Lakers, or then I think it will be the Jazz who could win it. But so, final matchup, game of the night, Lakers at Suns. Big news for the Suns, though. Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal are returning from injury and will be playing. The Suns have kept it close some of the games without those two players, and I think that's great to see. They didn't do well against the Knicks last week, but it is what it is. But having players, like having your two main guys, or two of your three main guys back in your lineup, finding that rhythm, it's crucial. Kevin Durant has been playing at an MVP type level, MVP caliber player this season, and losing him really hurt their rhythm. They were like top of the, I want to say like they were top of the conference at the beginning of the, like before he got injured, and now they're 8th with a 9-7 record. If he can help them get back to where they were, like they're only 2 games back from being the 3 seed. So it's pretty evident to not only just how tough the Western Conference is, but also like they very much could just be back in the mix, like pretty easily, pretty quickly. So I would take the Suns in that one. So just to reiterate, Bulls over Washington, the Heat over the Bucks, the Rockets over the Wolves, Spurs over Jazz, and the Suns over the Lakers. Really appreciate all of you if you are still here listening. Really appreciate you all, even if you just listen for a couple minutes. It is what it is. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Again, if you have any questions, concerns, tips, tricks, whatever, reach out to me on Instagram or Twitter, both at Talkin' Triple. Check out the blog, linked in the Instagram bio. Check out the YouTube channel at triplethreattalkpod.com, at Triple Threat Talk Pod. Let's see. Today's player. You know what? I'm going to say him. One of my goats, Tony Allen. That's my guy. Defensive nightmare, Tony Allen. I hope you all have a great day. Quick heads up. Think I'm going to release... I don't know if I'm going to release a second episode this week because of Thanksgiving. I don't think I will. But be on the lookout. I will be sure to keep an update on the Instagram. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this episode. I will see you all later. Peace.